like, how do you build a bridge back when, and this is I mean, there's a lot of parallels we can touch on in terms
Yeah.
of Republicans and conservatives in the UK, in the sense that in the Republican Party, there's been this sort of well documented takeover by the Trumps, to the point where I think it was Chris Cuomo
Mm.
who started just outright calling them like the Retrumplican Party, because it's
Maybe.
essentially, it is like the Church of
Mhm.
Trump now. Like, if you go out on the record and speak out against Trump, you're sort of
Mhm.
ostracized, even though he's
Mhm.
not currently, as I understand it, formally the Republican, like the leader of the Republican
Mhm.
Party.
Mhm.
But he's such a sort of iron figure there that the
Mhm.
takeover is real. And in the same way, or a very very similar way, in the Conservative Party here, they ejected a lot of the moderate MPs in the 2019 election,
Yeah.
um, or a lot of them resigned because they felt like they couldn't stand up and credibly say, we will support Boris Johnson. We don't
Mhm.
think he's a liar. We think Brexit's great. Uh, a lot of them were just like, this is not worth my integrity. So they bailed. And so
Rob.
now what we're left with is, in the States, you've got the Republican Party, who are this sort of far right, authoritarian, happy, fascist light Retrumplican Party. And then over here in the UK, you've got this sort of pro Brexit, batshit, flag waving brand of bellends. And it's like, how do we drag these people back into the sort of centre right? Because I would entertain a centre right Conservative Party. I'd be like, this is better than that shit.
Of course. There's the sensible people who are sort of, there's a way for you to be like, I'm never going to vote Republican, but also not like hold every former Republican's past stuff against them. I mean, if they did
Mm,
something truly horrible, then probably they're not even in the conversation. But you still see under every person who's been so against Trump, and I love what they're saying, but there's still always the people who are like, this is your fault. Like, you did this. And it's true. We need to there are some people who are unsalvageable, and I think there were always the good news is that there were always people that were unsalvageable who were thinking the horrible shit and the crazy, like there were always crazy terrible people, but like we didn't hear from them as much. They didn't have the
because they didn't
microphone of
get those
Twitter.
retweets. That's why.
Yeah, exactly, of social media. So I mean they were always there. Like if you watch, I don't know if it's come to the UK yet, Ryan Murphy's story about Bill Clinton's impeachment, and
Yeah.
that's from the 90s, and that just shows that not that people were out to get Democrats, but which they were, but at the same time, like these conspiracy theories have existed. There have been conspiracy theories since the Middle Ages on your end and the 1700s, in our end. Um, but I think what needs to happen is that these people who get it, who whether they always got it about Trump or they get it now, no matter how annoyed, like Liz Cheney. The big things here are Liz Cheney from Wyoming, or Dick Cheney's daughter, and Adam Kinzinger, a outgoing congressman from Ohio who's not running for reelection. They're like the two people who have been like, they voted for impeachment, the whole thing, and they were just censured by the Republican National Committee as bad Republicans because they are.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's
I'm so
disgusting.
unfamiliar with this.
Oh
That's amazing. So
yeah,
they are the voice of How fucking weird is it that we've ended up in a situation where
yeah,
Dick Cheney's fucking daughter is the
yeah,
voice of
yes.
right-leaning reason? Like,
Exactly. And even so, and it's like it's not quite Faustian because I don't think it's the devil. We know who the devil is. So it's like, you can hear Liz Cheney then say something really annoying like, "Oh, well, we have to band together because, Biden's policies are so dangerous." Which is like obnoxious and hyperbolic, and she's not really helping any. That's what got us here in the first place, that kind of rhetoric. But at the same time, shit, she has held the line again. I mean, since the insurrection anyway, she's held the line. And I'm just, as distasteful as it can be with maybe someone like that, as opposed to someone who's been against Trump since 2015, you got to hold
mm,
that line all together, and that's the thing. It's not that we're going to win back a whole bunch of people. It's that we need to grow that and just
yeah,
encroach it back, drive it from the left, keep going a little bit this way so that it's just too many people. It's like any progress. It's always just a little bit more people than the other group wanting something that's good. That's how anything good happens, is that it's just a little bit more people seeing the light than who don't see the light. And that, ever since the Civil War, it's like a little more people get that this is fucked up and we need to change America than the people who didn't get it. And that's just how it has always gone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's. I suppose the challenge that people like. Sorry, I forget her name now. Liz Cheney. Did you say?
Liz Cheney. Yeah.
And the more moderates, the moderate conservatives who are left in the Conservative Party over here is that when they come out and they say, look, it's time to have an adult conversation. It's time to just drop the hyperbole and drop the populism, and let's just have an honest conversation about where we're at in America. And no, we don't agree with Biden's policies, but here are our policies, and these are actually realistic, and they address, like, when they come out with stuff like that, which people like you and me would be like, oh, fucking finally, we've got some grown-ups in the room.
Yeah.
Immediately you've got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Ted Cruz who are willing to cynically play the game, who are like, oh, don't listen to that bitch, like come with me over this way, and like don't have a vaccine, and like, oh, you know that movie Don't Look Up. It's like that shit. It's like oh, just whatever, it doesn't matter, they're all just lying to you, they think they're better than you, like all. And like, how do you address that when you're on, let's say, you're on BBC News as Liz Cheney giving your credible or semi-credible economic plan, but they're fucking listening to Fox News, and Tucker is on saying, like, don't listen, like, you know, and
yeah, they want to destroy you. That's
like they've got their news from their one like tunnel vision echo chamber. Like, I just, when I say that I don't think there's a way back, like I wish I had more faith, but I just can't see how you put, to use your phrase that you used earlier, I don't see how you get this genie back in the bottle when we're at this point now.
No, you don't. You just have to do another bottle. I think you have to find another genie. You know, it's sort of like this is now here. What we just have to do now is work on shoving it over here. Like, you can't get rid of it. Like, it's sort of like the tire fire on The Simpsons that's always burning. You ever watch The Simpsons? In Springfield, the tire fire that's always burning. And that's what's going to be happening. I think, interesting, I walk another dog walking story. There's a guy, a young guy, white guy. I know he comes from a family of means, so comfortable guy. I'd say he's 30. I mean, I'm really bad at ages these days. But let's, you know, our dogs get along, so we chit chat. And I think we may have not met till maybe right before the pandemic, or when the pandemic set in. So, you know, now I've known him for 2 years almost. And, you know, like when the vaccines came out last year, I think we talked about getting vaccines, and he didn't seem thrilled, but I know he got them. I know he got vaccinated. Then we see each other again around Christmas or after Christmas, and he said how his parents had gotten COVID. They'd all gotten COVID over Christmas. He's like, so, and I think I just gotten my booster. And he's like, so, I mean, you know, I have all, you know, I don't know. So I'm probably not getting like boosted anytime soon, because, you know, I've been reading some things. I'm like, oh, that's never a good sign. When anyone announces they've been reading a few things. And literally, sure enough, like a month later, I saw him, and then because I saw him, and I was like, oh, by the way, my dad got COVID, and now he's over it. And then, oh my God, it was like, then I uncorked a bottle. He's like, you know, and he even said, he's like, you know, on CNN, they told us that the vaccines were going to do this and that. And I said, well, that's why I don't watch CNN. I was like, that's why I don't watch anything, because, you know, I'm like, oh, I read my news, you know. But he goes, yeah, you know, it's really important to listen to different sources, you know. He's like, I was watching this guy on YouTube. I went down a real rabbit hole. He even announced he went down a rabbit hole. And he's like, and he's like, to the left, but did you know that Trump was the only president who never started a war? I'm like, oh, God.